Welcome to PTSD Self-Healing Show, a journey to self-discovery. I'm your host, Panta Kalhor. Episode 19, PTSD Recovery by Training Dogs with Michael J. Soler, owner and master dog trainer of Blue Line Canine. Please subscribe to Panta Kalhor Transition channel and order my book Rules of Change for the Better. Tune up your mood and transform your life to reach your biggest dreams. Today we are with Michael J. Soler, and he has very interesting story to tell. He has a PTSD and he found some ways to actually recover from PTSD. I really wish he talks about his story right now because he's here with us. Hi, Michael. Welcome to our show. Tell me about yourself and tell me how you recovered from PTSD and which techniques you chose.
Hello, thank you for having me. To get right into it, PTSD is no joke, as we know. Everybody has it, and everybody has it from different reasons and different thoughts or different events that occurred in their life. And there's no real 1, 2, 3 way of getting out of it.
Yeah.
And when I got diagnosed with it, when I came home from Iraq, and I was really messed up. I was really angry. Literally, I would hear a certain song and my brain would go back to the desert. I remember I was driving down 695 here in Maryland. It's a highway that surrounds.
Sorry, I interrupt. What was the cause of your PTSD?
I served in the United States Marine Corps, and I served in Iraq.
Mm.
So that's when I came home is when I was really jacked up from everything that happened over there. And the weird part about it is now looking back, I really can't pinpoint an exact moment or this or that because I've done so much studying to get out of it and learn so much about it that looking back on it, I could tell you how it all occurred.
Mm-hmm.
Not like, when somebody has an amazing event that, a car crash and that's where the event comes from. That's a post-traumatic stress syndrome that comes from an event, that direct event.
Exactly.
But what most tend to not realize is that PTSD can also be brought on by a long period of time, created from classical conditioning, basically meaning that your life is such a high stress scenario that things around it are actually programming your brain to go back to it. So without even being post-traumatic, you can think about little things such as, and I'll give you a really good example of it is this. If you ever listen to a certain song and remember your high school prom.
Yes, triggers.
That means your brain is being brought right back into it.
Yes.
And what that happened for me was that when I was really bad with the PTSD was that my brain would listen to certain songs because I had 11 songs on a CD player when I was in Iraq, and I was a truck driver driving all around Iraq. And during this time frame, I came home and one of those songs came on the radio, and I was driving down 695, which is a major highway here in Baltimore. It surrounds it surrounds Baltimore City. And there we go. Sorry about that.
No worries.
So what happened was I found myself, there I go again. I found myself 695 turning into a desert. And I pulled over and I couldn't see the road anymore. It all became an exact desert. And I wasn't big on education, anti-education, I guess, right? Not big in high school. I was a Marine. I didn't go to college, any of this stuff. So I immediately decided that I had to fix this. And I started studying psychology, and I realized that my brain was so programmed to the last 9 months of my life that I had to unprogram it. I had to figure out these triggers.
Sorry, you change it to your radio. Can you change it again? No, the audio. Your audio has been changed.
Hold on. Are you back? Hold on. What's going on here?
Okay,
Can
go
you hear me
ahead.
now?
Yes, okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So what happened was I started learning all of this, and why I started learning this was because my wife, my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, she got me to buy a dog and start training my dog. And I started training dogs, and I started going, holy crap. I started learning things, and I'm like, wait a minute, that works on me. And my dog became my outlet for my stress, where I was able to focus my brain on my dog. But then as I kept learning on how dogs learn, I started realizing how much this works on me and how much it was the same. Pavlov is teaching classical conditioning. He was teaching that you would ring the bell, the dog started salivating because the dog's brain said it was time for food. So the dog started drooling to break down the food and started the digestive tract. And then I go, wait a second, that's the equivalent to those 11 songs that I listened to all the time in Iraq, which is why the desert appears.
Wow.
And I hear certain words, certain bombs or certain explosions, and I couldn't go to gun ranges, or I couldn't go to here or there because it was bringing back this or bringing back that. So I started to figure out that I needed to retrain my brain to what those noises meant. So I put the disciplines in place that I learned in the Marine Corps, and I started retraining all of the triggers that would bring me into my depressions, bring me into my panic attacks, bring me into these things, because I started journaling and figuring out what they exactly were. So then I can retrain them.
Wow.
So these are some of the weird things I had to do, but I found it to be one of those things that the first thing I had to do was figure out what were my triggers. Then I had to figure out what were the happy things that I do. And then I started to put, hey, if I hear the trigger, I do this. If I do this, I do that. And it starts to slowly and surely start to do that. So like I have a recording of fireworks that were very similar to bombs, right? Not exactly, but they're similar. So then that didn't really work. So I actually got recordings of bombs going off. And I would play them very low volume while playing sports or while doing something fun and activity. So the noise actually started to be subconsciously retrained to have zero effect.
That's amazing.
And it's all because your brain is going to always latch onto these memories. It's going to latch onto these things. And that's what's really helped me a lot with dog training, because the more and more I try to learn dog training, the more and more I figured out about ourselves and programming it. And one of the things that I've always done was practice on myself, practice on humans, because the main thing that separates people from animals is comprehension. So with the animals, I never have to teach them the why, but with the humans, I do. So I've learned there's so many little things. Like, so for example, if, and I'll give you a really good example. Is this, if you can hear this,
Okay, yes.
right? So you take the noise. So I'm going to say, that's right, that's right, that's right. Did you hear my voice in your head?
Yes, yes.
Is it that works? So now you start thinking about how you can change everything in your life through that little bit of a connection. So if something is makes you sad, you can reprogram it to mean something good. All you have to do is know what it was. So like, for example, you bet you just heard my voice in your
You're
mind.
right.
Isn't that great? So,
Yeah.
when you put these together, and it'll allow you to beat your own anxieties. It allows you to beat those things. Facebook is a main anxiety builder for myself. It was and always will be, because you always, when you're on Facebook, it has an algorithm to find the things that you're interested in, right? And that hurts sometimes, because that also means you're looking at your business competitors,
Yeah.
which you're like, well, I am doing good. There's no complaint. But then on the flip side, you're like, but it's not that I don't want my competitors to do well, but I want to do better. Right. So then you start
Yes.
getting jealous, and then you start having anxiety. Oh, they're doing better than me, or something like that. So that algorithm is sort of frustrating, because I appreciate they share more dog stuff with me, but I don't, I don't want to see my competitors.
So,
No,
just let's
you got
just
to,
yeah, flashback a little bit because we go very far.
yeah.
First, you talk about very amazing idea to do new things because I was hitting I was hit by trauma 2 times, And
Okay.
what I did, somebody robbed my car and throw me out of the car. And I had lots of back injury. That was the longest story, but it took me some time to just recover from nightmares and just feeling that somebody's following me, killing me. But what I realized, because after I felt safe and I was not killed, everything changed in me. I said, okay, at least I'm safe, I'm alive, so I have more time to live, you know. And then I said, okay, let's do new things. When you are changing your life and do new things that you have never done, then your PTSD after some time gonna be changing too, because your brain is not doing is not processing your nightmares, but processing new things that it needs more energy to learn and adopt. So instead of using your energy thinking about your PTSD, you use your energy to do and create new things. Because after that, I moved to Australia. Then I had a new life. I studied there. So too many things, and finally my PTSD gone. So
Yeah.
that's that you say. And I like the point you talk about the reprogramming. I never thought about it. Like you say, mixing bad things with the good things memories at the same time
Hmm.
finally helps you to replace the bad one with the good one.
Yep. The only trick to that though is remember poquito, so little bit of the negative to more of the positive. So like, don't go and don't bring all the negative trigger to something you enjoy, because obviously it could have the effect,
You
right?
never enjoy anything then.
Right. You want to make sure your negative trigger is very minute in that other, so you're focused more on the positive than the negative. And you call it the compound effect. So you just little by little it just goes into
Yes.
it's the same way I do everything I do in my life. So I decided I wanted to lose weight. I didn't change what I ate, and I sure as shoot didn't start exercising. All I did was I created a rule that if it doesn't fit in my hand, I'm not allowed to eat it. So when I make my chicken nuggets at night, I can only eat the amount of chicken nuggets that I can fit into my hand when I grab them.
Interesting.
So because of the fact that that's the rule and that's my discipline, because I follow my rules, I'm losing weight, not because I'm eating better, but because I'm eating less of my bad food. So irony though is that I could fit more salad in my hand than I can fit my chicken nuggets. So
Mm.
it's the weird part is I can eat a big apple because one apple fits in my hand where only about 11 French fries do.
I like
So
that.
it's little silly things that when you put one discipline in your brain that shows the progress little by little, you start to feel the reward. You can really feel successful because you even don't realize it's happening until it's there in front of you. I lost so much weight, my pants don't fit anymore, but it was almost like I woke up and over suddenly my pants were loose.
Mm.
It was so gradual that I don't even know how it happened.
Yeah. Yeah,
It was like
exactly. Because you shouldn't. The problem with the diet, I talk to healthcare professionals and medical doctors, and some people actually believe in diet, but they don't. They say diet is very temporary, and
yes,
you have to force yourself for, let's say, 14 days, eat this or don't eat that one. So that's the problem. But if you change your lifestyle for a longer period of time, then you don't suffer yourself from different foods. It happens very gradually, but finally you lose weight.
right, exactly.
And you
It's
can keep your weight. That's the point.
and the thing is that I learned all maneuvers through my PTSD disciplines was one little thing, one trigger, one song. So one of the songs that I had on my CD that still to this day is one of my favorite songs is Everybody Was Kung Fu Fighting.
Uh-huh.
And I had to reprogram that song because it killed me that every time I heard that song, it was a punishment, right? That the world turned to a desert. So I reprogrammed that brain that every time I would play that song was something huge or big would happen in my life.
Uh-huh.
Time I was a mortgage person, is buying and selling houses, and so I'd play the song and I would go out and make a sale. Every time I made a sale, I would play the song. That
That's an interesting approach. I like
yes,
that.
it's a weird way that you change everything. And again, we decide what is a punishment or a reward because everyone's completely different. So
You
I
know,
can't how
I
to do it.
talk to my clients about it. If they realize they need to change, then healing happens because you cannot force anybody to start recovering from PTSD if you don't want to. You
Right.
know, that's the problem because you really wanted to recover from it. So that's why you discipline yourself, you work for yourself. But some people even don't try it. So they have lots of denials and they don't really try hard to do it. So healing starts from inside, and you have to decide, you have to discipline yourself, actually follow some rules to recover from it.
You know, on that note, I have to say that sometimes there's the people around us that don't allow you to want it either. And I can only tell you about myself and the military experience was when I was coming home from Iraq, I had to fill out these questionnaires, and these questionnaires were really, really vague. Do you think of it? When you think of it, how does it make you feel? They were not descriptive of what it is.
Uh-huh.
So me and a bunch of guys were in a room and they handed us these forms, and we missed our women. We missed women in our lives at the time. So when you think of it, does it make you happy? Oh, when I think of it, I'm happy. What do you do when you see it? Oh, I get excited, right? It's that because I'm not thinking of Iraq at that time. So next thing I know, I'm being held hostage. They can't let me go. I'm a danger because of how bad I think of it. And that was a real discouraging thing. And if somebody's really, it was a battle to get them to realize that I'm okay enough to go home.
Mm-hmm.
Because the people that don't know or don't understand push you in that closet. So there's a lot of people, I believe, that want the help and want to heal, but they don't get the right surrounding to
That's the
help
point.
motivate.
That's the point. Yeah.
And it's hard for somebody that's suffering from something. And like myself, I know what worked for me, and I don't think it would work for everybody because I was blessed enough to be the right people at the right time and have the right disciplines put in place. If it wasn't for the dog training, I don't know where I would be. But the dog training wouldn't have occurred without my wife or my girlfriend at the time, technically. She was my wife now, girlfriend then, right? If these things weren't placed at the right positions, I was so angry with the doctors that I refused to see medical attention or seek advice. It was literally an uphill battle because of them. You know, they didn't want to let me go home, and that made me never want to go back.
Mm-hmm.
So the second they had to let me go home, told me I'm not going back. So if it wasn't for that right person coming into my world to say, you should go work with dogs and get a hobby, would I have learned all those things? Would have I found that track? Would I have gotten all those things out? And that's why I have to give a huge shout out to my wife, Tara, because if it wasn't for her, she was the one that pushed me down that road
Good
to do
for
that.
you. Good for
You
you.
know,
Not everybody is lucky to have this opportunity.
that's right. Why the people listening to this is if you're not finding those right people, keep listening to this podcast, listening to other people and listening to how they've done this. Try these things. Try what I've done. Get into dog training. Hit me up, bluelinecanine.com. Send me a message. I'll teach you Pavlov, operant conditioning. I'll tell you everything you need to know. Trust me, I'm an open book and I love to talk, as you guys can tell. So I enjoy it. So there's, one of those things that, sometimes we have to seek the right people instead of hoping they just show up,
Mhm.
you know?
Exactly. Because if you have, it's interesting. I talked to another caregiver, and she actually, she actually had this problem with her husband. Her husband had PTSD, and she was dealing with his PTSD. But because her husband didn't want to be healed, she couldn't do anything, even if she was a caregiver. So you see,
Yeah.
this is gonna be started from you, at you say, with right person, writing, right motivations. And if this like a spark doesn't happen, then your depression and PTSD are gonna continue forever.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. I really enjoy your talk, especially this one about the PTSD recovery, and hopefully my audience like it as well. I'm so happy to have you here, and for my audience to listen to you, and hopefully they learn how to reprogram their brain and how to deal with PTSD. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.